All right. Hello. I'm so excited for this. So this is taking place instead of our membership Q&A call. So if you are in the membership and you have questions, we can chat about them inside the membership. But I just want to first see those who are here live, pop into the chat, who you are, what you do, because there's some new faces here and I want to make sure everyone knows each other. You never know what you might discover from being in one of these classes or working with other people, and who you can connect with. So pop it in the chat. I'm going to do a little disclosure here. I am not going to spend 30 plus minutes just talking about myself on this masterclass. If you've been on other masterclasses where the person just talks about themselves and their own accomplishments, and you're left feeling like you didn't learn a single thing, you just wasted an hour of your life, welcome. That's not how we do things around here. So by the end of this class, you're going to learn the difference between waiting energy and leadership energy. We're going to go into how maybe you're operating right now and what you need to shift into as a leader to really show up and create that compound growth for yourself. We're going to talk a little bit about the algorithm and how it works and how we can hack that to work in our favor. I'm going to tell you a very brief story about when I launched and then I failed a launch and what happened as a result of it. But it's geared towards you and something you'll probably relate to. And then we're going to go into the four actions that you really should be focusing on every single day to create that compound growth for yourself, because there are a lot of different things out there you can be doing for your business, but it does not need to be complicated. So we're going to be talking about that. So let's see. I see some chats coming on in. Let's see. So we got hello. I help women find out what they want to do with their life and leave their job they hate. Love it. Brenda's here. Brenda's an Expand Mini Mind client. Brenda says, I work with creatives to build and market online courses and memberships. Happy to meet you all. Awesome. All right. So right now you might be experiencing, and you might not be, but right now I'm guessing you might be posting consistently. You are showing up, creating content, and you have a fun time creating content most of the time. You love writing, you love creating the content, like the videos, the graphics and everything. And you feel like you're doing all the things you are supposed to be doing. Give me a yes in the chat if you've felt that way, like you're doing everything right, but you are not necessarily seeing the results you anticipated. You might be checking notifications constantly to see if anything has shifted within the last 2 hours of you posting. Like maybe if the video has gone viral now, or maybe my Instagram is finally taking off and I have thousands of new followers. And you're looking at others in your industry and wondering what they have that you don't and what you are doing wrong. When will it be your turn? There's kind of like this thought process of, I've been waiting for so long and I'm seeing other people take off. I'm seeing other people who create content, in my opinion, that's not as good as mine, take off. What are they doing that I'm not doing? So we're going to be diving into that, and I'm going to be sharing with you how we can go deeper into the actions that you take every single day to really flip that and start to see compound growth. What does compound growth mean to me? Compound growth, I think of stocks, right? When you're investing in something and you invest maybe a tiny amount at first, and as the stock grows, your investment grows and you get more and more and more money because the money that you're making off the stock gets invested back into it and you just get like a bigger and bigger cash there. So for business compound growth, what that looks like is every action that you take, every little maneuver that you put inside your business, it compounds on each other. And it's almost the snowball effect rolling down a mountain. It starts to pick up speed. It starts to pick up size. And the more you put into it, the more it starts to roll and crash down into the results that you desire. So if you right now resonated with anything that I was saying earlier, the posting consistently, doing all the things you're supposed to be doing, like I can't even tell you how many times I thought that myself, like I have been doing everything right, quote unquote. I have gone to the courses, I've done the programs, and it still feels like I'm not really seeing the momentum that I thought I would be seeing. You're looking at your notifications, wondering when this is going to be your big break. You are in this waiting energy instead of leadership energy. So let me explain. So waiting energy is that looks like being reliant on external validations to confirm if you are good at what you do or not. So for example, when you post something and you are so proud of this piece of content, you're like, oh, I think this is going to be it. This is going to be my next big thing. It's going to go off. It's going to be viral. And you're constantly refreshing your notifications. You're like, this is it. I'm so excited. But you see the dreaded 200 view club, or you see like 5 likes, and you're like, what the heck? You see the same 5 people liking it every single time. And you're just wondering, you start to think like, well, maybe I'm not that good at this. Like, I see other people getting 30 likes, 50 likes, 100 likes, thousands of likes, but I am still stuck in this low engagement range. Keyword here, stuck. So you're reliant, and you start to think like, well, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I need to fix something. Maybe I need to shift something. And you're really taking in that external reality that you're seeing as validation to confirm whether what you actually did was good or not. So you start to think about that, start to own the thought that maybe I'm not that good at this. Another example of waiting energy is you almost feel like you need to have clients that you're consistently working with, and like it's okay to have like 3 clients and you're like, all right, but you still feel like you need to have those 10 people inside your program, or like a sold out masterclass, or a giant membership that has hundreds of people inside, to feel like you're officially a coach or a service provider, whichever one you are. You almost feel like, unless I am working directly with somebody, I don't feel like I am quote unquote doing my job. How many times have someone asked you what you do and you're like, well, I am a business coach and I help people do this, or like you soft coat what you do to other people, because there's a part of you that feels like you're not actually doing the thing that you are trying to do. Even when you're posting consistently, even when you're working with a handful of clients, you're like, oh, I don't know. I resonate with this one more than the first. Agreed. Yes. I was there as well. I especially, I'm a generator in human design. I don't know if this is related to that or not, but I need to be able to respond to things. And if I am not constantly responding to things, I feel like I'm not doing what I want to do. The third example of waiting energy is you're blaming the algorithm, the economy, your followers, etc., instead of your own actions, because you just need to wait a little bit longer for it to start working. So perhaps you created content, you're creating content consistently, and you're like, well, I mean, I haven't been posting for a month straight. Maybe I need to post every single day for a month straight to see results. Okay, I did it for a month. Maybe I need to do 3 months, or like, just you're playing this waiting game of like, I just need to keep waiting for the algorithm to discover me. Or right now, the economy is kind of fickle, so I just need to wait until the economy is better. Or right now, my followers are only 500 people. I need to wait until I have 1,000 followers or 2,000 followers. Or perhaps you're like, well, I just need to wait until the algorithm picks me up, which is, I already said that. So let's move on to that. So because you are kind of in this waiting game of, I am reliant on the external. I'm reliant on the number of followers I have. I'm reliant on the economy. I'm reliant on the algorithm. You start to detach from your results, because you're like, well, it's not my fault that I'm not taking off. It's not my fault that I'm not doing well. It's the algorithm's fault. It's the economy. It's the followers. Brenda says, this one is close. I feel like I haven't really shown my authority. Ooh, authority. We're going to be talking about that. And then, so that was a couple of examples of, actually, there's one more here. I'm looking at my notes. So another thing is this thought of, I'm doing so much. Why isn't anyone buying? It's a no-brainer. Like, how many times have you been like, I don't get it. I've been selling every single day. I've been posting content. Why aren't people resonating with it? Why aren't people buying it? It's only $97. It's only 1,000, whatever, for all of this. Like, I don't understand. It's so valuable, right? And again, it's this kind of entitled feeling, I'm calling you out gently here, of like, I am doing the work. Why isn't it being reciprocated? Why is it not being brought back to me? Now we shift to the leadership energy, the leader energy. So leaders go first and have the time of her life, knowing that the FOMO is real, the fear of missing out is real, and your audience eventually won't be able to resist the party you've been having. So think about, like, you're constantly posting, you're posting content. You're like, I know this is amazing reel. I don't care how many views I get because I'm having fun. You're going live even though there's one person watching, or whatever, 0 people watching. And you're like, I don't care if no one's watching. I know someone's going to watch the replay and love it. Or you're like, you keep selling your offer even though no one's joining, right? Like you're still showing up, you're still taking action, because you know if you are hyped about it, so will your audience will be once they start to pick up on your contagious energy. A leader believes in what they do, no matter how many clients they have, how many followers they have, how many views they have. Insert your own condition here, because they don't care. We leaders detach from the money. Like we want millions of dollars, right? We want thousands of dollars. We want to be successful. But at the end of the day, we would be doing this for free. And I'm sure you've heard this said by other people. So let me expand on this a little bit. We would be doing this for free because we love it. Like I will literally just in my free time, I'll be watching shows like Ted Lasso, or I literally was watching SpongeBob the other day, just as like what's the word? Like a throwback, just like I can't think of the word. when you try to think of it. Starts with an N? Whatever. When you're thinking back to things you did in your childhood, and we're like, oh, nostalgia. That's what it was. When you're being nostalgia, I was watching SpongeBob, and we watched Ted Lasso, and there was like a couple of times in the show, I was like, oh my God, this is what I do for work. This is what I'm talking about. This is main character messaging. This is marketing. And I'm like, I love this. And I'm like, literally I'm not working right now. It's time off, but I am always thinking about what I do because I love it, because I'm obsessed with it. Or there's the scene in SpongeBob when it's the episode, if you've seen SpongeBob, let me know in the chat. But it's the scene when Squidward gets like fed up with SpongeBob and Patrick, and he is like, that's it, I'm moving. I don't want to be here anymore. And the TV falls and it's an ad for the like Squidward Tentacle Acres, that's what it's called. And the person's like, are you fed up with your neighbors? And he literally says it verbatim of what Squidward just said. I'm like, this is marketing. Like I make connections everywhere. So let me know. You're muted, Brenda. Oh, I haven't seen that one. Yeah, I mean, my childhood was SpongeBob, so that is what I relate to. It doesn't really matter here. So I'm always like, no matter what I'm doing, I'm always thinking about it because I love it, because I nerd out about it, because I'm like so passionate about marketing. I will look at a car ad and I'm like, this is it. Oh, this is like so genius. So even if I'm not making any money, I'm still going to be posting about it because I just love it. And I want to share what I learn, and I want to share what I'm learning because I'm constantly learning new things and I'm constantly growing and adapting. Okay, next one. Leaders make a game out of everything. It's an experiment. I double majored. I went to school for environmental science, biology. And then I halfway through added on business because I had this hunch that I would become a business entrepreneur at some point in my life. So when I was in college, I was a scientist and I was doing biology, and we're doing labs and experiments and stuff. And the thing with experiments as a scientist is there are literally no right or wrong results. They're just results. So if you do an experiment and your hypothesis is that it's going to go this way, and if it doesn't go that way, it doesn't matter because your hypothesis was wrong. The outcome isn't right or wrong. It's just the outcome. And we have to take the action to see if this is what's going to happen, right? We don't know. We can make guesses. We don't know until we do it. So as a leader in your business, as an entrepreneur, you need to treat the actions that you do every single day just like that, just like a scientist with your lab coat on, fiddling with chemicals and different reactions, and you want to see what's going to happen because you have no idea. Your hypothesis is this post is really good. I think maybe I'll get 200 views or 500 views, whatever. But then you post it and you're like, well, what if I get 1 million views? What if I get 500,000 views? I don't know, right? Like you never know. So it makes it fun to take action because you're really going in with like, I don't know what's going to happen. It could do this, but what if it does this instead? What if it gets even bigger? What if it blows my mind? A leader also takes full responsibility for their actions and continues to show up, learn, and try new things, right? So if a post doesn't do well, you're not like, oh my God, the algorithm hates me. The algorithm is impossible to work with these days. Or, my followers are just inactive. It goes right over their head. They don't know what I'm talking about. I need to find new followers. Leaders are like, no, clearly I didn't connect with my audience the way I expected to. And let's see how we can fix that. Let's see how we can tweak it and maybe try it again. Right. I had an experience with Brenda actually in our mini mine. She posted something and it did all right, right? But it didn't go exactly as expected. So I said, what if instead we try tweaking it to do this format instead? She reposted it and I'm pretty sure it did like double the results of it before. All right. Then the last thing is remember that the waiting energy was kind of entitled. I'm doing so much. Why isn't anyone buying? The leadership energy is grateful. I'm seeing a couple of new faces engaging. I'm going to continue to show up and serve them. Like, oh, I did a live stream and one person joined. I did a live stream and now two people are joining. And like literally every single little thing is so exciting. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe 3 people opened my email today. Like that's huge. Maybe next time it'll be 6. Maybe next time it'll be 9. It's just going to keep doubling, right? That's the energy. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So that is waiting energy versus leader energy. And I have a story that's going to tie into this, but oftentimes when you first start your business, you're in that leader energy because you started your business out of a passion. You are super excited to talk about what you know. You're super excited to help people. Like how I can't tell you the number of times when, like, for example, I like learned a new lift at the gym and I'm like, oh my God, like I just did this and I can't wait to show you. I want to show you what I just learned. Or, you go to a new restaurant and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to tell everyone I know to go to this restaurant because it was so good. That's leadership energy. Whereas waiting energy is typically the seasoned entrepreneurs who have been doing it for a while and maybe they saw results at the beginning, but they're kind of on that bumpy road and they're just like, when is it going to be my turn? I've been doing this for so long. I've been putting in the work. When am I going to see the results? So let me know in the chat right now whether you think, and if you're watching the replay, let me know on the chat as well. Let me know if you think you are currently in the leadership energy or the waiting energy. And there's no wrong answer here, no judgment, because if you're in the waiting energy, I'm going to show you how to fix that. If you're in the leader energy, I'm going to show you how to expand on that. I'm going to take a sip of water while you do that. I see typing, lots of typing. I'll share my own. I feel like I was isolating between the waiting energy and the leadership energy before this eclipse. I got really impacted by the eclipse energy because I don't know. I'm not super into astrology, so I don't know all the ins and outs, but it was heavy for me. And there was times where I slipped into the waiting energy and I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing this forever. And like this hasn't happened yet. And then there's times when I slip into the leadership. So it sounds like everyone's kind of in the boat. I'm in the leadership energy for the most part, but I still think my work is kind of incomplete if I'm not working with a bunch of clients. Yes. I want to say both, LOL, but it feels closer to waiting. Okay, awesome. That's okay. It's good to just know that level of awareness of what you are in, and you can slip in and out at all times. Okay. So let's just do another disclosure here, a lesson in the algorithm. So how things work right now for Reels and TikToks especially. So the Reel format on Instagram and the TikTok format is the Reels and TikToks have allowed anyone to take off as long as it's a good piece of content. And I just saw somebody, I don't know, I can't remember who it was. It was like Russell Brunson or like Grant Cardone, like one of the big names. But someone was like, I don't understand. I'm posting every single day. I'm posting 3 times a day. I'm posting 5 times a day and nothing's working. That's literally the theme of this masterclass. They were in the waiting energy, right? That entitled energy. And he was like, it's because your content isn't good. And the person was like, what do you mean? Like, got so offended. But he was like, if it was good, it would take off, right? So if you're creating good content, you will see action. And I just want to do a disclaimer. I keep saying disclaimer so many times during this. A disclaimer for entrepreneurs is we don't need to go mega viral. We don't need to have millions of views. We don't need to have all that success, but we do need to be seen. And it's really important to create content that gets you seen by the right people, because that's how you are going to convert people into clients. So for example, I had a TikTok, I think it had like 300 views tops, maybe not even 300 views. Maybe had like 20 likes and it brought in $2,500 for me, right? Like it brought in a couple of sales. So you do not need to be mega viral. You don't even need to be somewhat viral. You don't even need to have thousands of views. You just need to know how to activate your audience. And of course, like, it's okay to want to go viral. It's okay to be one of the go-tos in the industries that stand out and really, like, their name. They're when people name drop them, you're like, oh yeah, you're working with so and so. But just know that, like, we can still be successful, and that snowball effect can still gain momentum when you're working with small numbers. And we're going to go into that. Okay. Also know that what you posted yesterday, hold on, I'm going to turn on Do Not Disturb. Should have done that earlier. Okay. Also know that what you posted yesterday has no impact on what you post today. So, like yesterday, maybe your content got 200 views, you got like 5 likes or whatever. That does not mean today's post is going to get 200 views and 5 likes. Every single time you post, you have a new opportunity for a different outcome. And just remember that, like, especially in Reels right now, I've been posting basically at least 5 Reels a week on Instagram. And I had one got like 200 views. And then I had one that got 600 views, and it's still growing today. And then I had one last week at 1,000 views. Like, they're all over the place. So as long as you're posting consistently, you are going and you're working with your data, which we're going to talk about, you will see a shift. It does not mean you're going to be in the 200 view club forever just because you got 200 views yesterday. Excuse me. I don't like that line though. What is good content? Expand, Brenda. What do you mean by that? Agree. I'm actually afraid of going viral and bringing in the wrong people or something. Yeah. I've actually heard of people say, like, they see themselves start to go viral and they actually make their account public or private so that they don't go super viral, right? Yeah. I went viral. I had an old TikTok account and I went viral and it was the stupidest video. And it brought in a lot of the right people. But what happened was this hangover effect. I went viral, and then every single video after that, I was like, I gotta get the same results. And because yesterday's video doesn't affect today's video, it didn't get the same results. I didn't go viral again. I didn't go viral, like, consistently. Just because I went viral once doesn't mean you're going to go viral forever. And yeah, moral of the story is you never know what's going to happen. So keep being optimistic. I'm waiting to hear what Brenda says. I have a idea. Okay, when people say it's because you don't have good content because loads of people explode eating a sandwich. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So one, people explode eating a sandwich. I love that. That target audience, right, is fat, right? The person, I cannot explain, like, the weird videos that go viral. I saw one the other day. I was like, what the heck is this? And I had millions of views. There are definitely some outliers here. I think we can replace good content with content that activates your audience, content that your audience gets drawn in. And we're going to talk about this, gets drawn in, feels like, oh my God, Brenda's talking directly to me. Oh my gosh, I have something to learn from her. And then continues to stay and watch and gets value out of it. So if you know how to talk your audience's language, I say tell your audience's story. That is going to draw people in. But you're right. I feel like good content is being overused nowadays. And this is a challenge for me to switch up my own language. It's extreme, but I know you get it. I do get it. Yes. All right. We'll talk more about that. Basically, though, good content equals content that your audience reacts to, base level. Someone eating a sandwich went viral because their audience responded to it. Like, how many times have you seen, there was one person, I forget who she is, and I haven't seen her in a while, but she was a business owner. She was an entrepreneur, and she went viral because when she was doing her videos, she was always like cutting things, and she cut something with like the wrong tool. She was cutting something with like this huge knife or something like that. And everyone drove to her comments because they're like, why would you cut that with that knife? Right? So there are definitely ways to go viral. This is more TikTok than Instagram. There are definitely ways to go viral and get more reaction from your audience by doing something quote unquote wrong. Right? So like, I know another person who like had, for example, myself, my viral video, I had 2 sounds on top of each other. I don't know how the heck it happened. But like, I posted a video that had music playing, and then on top, TikTok added music, and everyone was in my comments because they were saying, oh my God, I can't listen to 2 songs at once. but my video went viral, right? But that's the wrong reasons because the people were commenting for just to tell me that I was wrong. Or you do a typo and people are like, you're doing a typo. So we can get on a tangent on this. Was it Jenna Page? Interesting. I did not know that. Cool. Yeah, it was an axe. Love that. Okay. All right. So let's go into, oh wait, no, I've got more here. What you posted yesterday has no impact on what you post today. And then here, actually, this was perfect, Brenda, your question, because I said knowing your audience and how to activate them has a greater impact than your follower count. This is why you see newbies completely take off within a few days. They don't have any followers, but they know exactly what's going to activate their audience to take off. So knowing that these 3 rules that you can take off as long as you know how to activate your audience, you know, your post from yesterday or 2 weeks ago has no impact on what you post today. Knowing your audience and and how to activate them is going to have a greater impact than your follower count. So like, just know that we have an ability to manipulate the algorithm. LOL, people love telling others they're wrong. Yes. Cat's here, lovely. Yeah, people on TikTok love to tell people they're wrong. It's so funny. I'm just gonna mute you, Cats. Hello. Kat, if you want to go introduce yourself in the chat, we've already got started. You can catch up on the replay after I post it. All right. Oops, what am I doing? Where did my chat go? Here it is. Okay, so telling you a story. I told you this is the only time I'm going to really talk about myself here. So when I first launched, backstory, before I became a business coach, I ran 2 different businesses, started as a digital products, not like the digital marketing that you see, but I was selling my artwork, my educational resources that I did as a teacher online for homeschool families. And I really had to learn how to market myself because I had no clue how to do that. Learned how to market myself. Then people started asking me, my teacher friends started asking me how I was doing that. So I started doing it for them because I did not have the confidence to just give them advice. I wasn't at the level that I'm at yet. I started doing done for you social media management. And within 6 months, I was booked out and had more money than I thought I could make. I doubled my teacher salary in 6 months. And I was like, wow, okay, I guess I'm doing this full time. At that time, I had entrepreneurs, freelancers asking me how I did that. So I launched a mastermind teaching freelancers how to get clients through social media. And in my first launch, I got 5 amazing women inside. But it wasn't until it was time for my second launch which I thought was going to be so easy, that I had this kind of like eye-opening experience where I was in this waiting game energy. I thought my second launch was going to be so easy because I got 5 people in my first launch. Like, hello, like that's amazing. I had proof that people were interested. 5 people joined. Amazing. And not only that, but now I had testimonials of their transformations. Like, I actually got these people amazing results. They were signing their own clients. Of course, people are going to see that and want to work with me. Enter my entitled energy that we talked about earlier. This is a no-brainer investment. Why aren't people joining? I'm posting every day. Why aren't people joining? This is why we talked about this a little bit at the beginning. This is why newbies tend to be more successful at the beginning, because they have 0 expectations, 0 stories tied to their actions. If I didn't have that story of the first launch, I got 5 people in. So at this launch, the second launch should be at least 5 people, if not more. I probably would have been more successful on that launch. So when I went to launch, it says lunch, that's funny. When I went to launch for the second time, I sold the offer for 2 months and I got 0 bites. 0 people were interested. I think I got maybe like 3 applications, but they all ended up ghosting me. And I was like, I don't understand. I've got these screenshots. I've got these testimonials. I even have video testimonials. Like, why aren't people buying? But when we analyze this and zoom out, like if I analyze this from me 4 years ago when I had this experience, you can see that it was because I was tying my results to a story. And the first time I got 5 people, now I'm not getting any. Something is wrong. I got obsessed with trying to fix. Something is wrong. I need to fix this. I thought maybe it was my sales. So I took a sales course. And then when that didn't work, I tried investing in a spiritual business coach. because I was like, okay, traditional strategy, not really working for me. I did a sales course, not really working for me. Let's try this spiritual aspect, the mindset aspect. And I was completely lost of who I was because I was trying so hard to fix something that wasn't broken. The only thing that was holding me back was the attachment I had to the result. In reality, what ended up happening was when I didn't see the results I started pulling back from the launch to protect myself. And as a self-fulfilling prophecy, it ended with failure because I pulled back, not because people weren't interested or the program was bad or that my followers were not active, but because I pulled back. So how many times have you been in a launch or you've been selling something and the first week you're like, hell yeah, I'm so excited about this program. I cannot wait to work with people. This content I'm posting is amazing. I'm doing all the things. I'm doing the freebie. I'm doing the live streams. And then people just start not showing up or people's not clicking your link. And then you're like, oh, I don't know. Maybe it's not working. Okay, I'm going to keep going. But now you're kind of like doubting yourself. And then like another week goes by and you're still not seeing the results you expected. So you're like, well, maybe this just isn't the good program that I need to be launching right now. Or maybe my content's not as good, right? Like how many times? Maria says, been there, done that. Yeah, same here. Yeah, so that is the problem. Most of the time, the problem isn't like when we look at your from a strategic point of view, when we look at your launch, maybe your content, we can go deeper in your messaging. Maybe you can tweak a couple of things. Maybe we can tweak some strategies so that your content's really activating your audience. But at the end of the day, it's because you pulled back, because you started to doubt yourself, that it didn't go the way you expected. So I want you to think about instances in your past of the entrepreneur career that you've had where you have been pulling back. Where have you been in the waiting energy instead of the leadership energy? So remember, the waiting energy is like being reliant on the external validation. We don't see people applying for our program, so we assume that it's because it's not a good program or there's something to fix, or maybe our followers aren't it's too advanced for our followers, or we don't have enough followers, or it feels like the algorithm is out to get you, and or maybe the economy is just not the right time. People are really struggling for money, tax season, everyone just paid a big tax bill. You start to assign stories that don't actually exist. And you also are operating in that entitled energy of, I'm doing so much, I'm launching, I have the testimonials, why aren't anyone buying? Versus the leadership energy, you're going to continue to put this out there because you believe in your offer. You believe this is an amazing program. The more obsessed you are with it, you're going to generate some fear of missing out, FOMO, for your audience. And they can't resist, but they want to know what you're doing. You believe in no matter what you do, how many clients you have, how many followers you have, how many views you have. You're making a game out of it. We're putting on our science lab coats and we're like, okay, well, this post didn't do as well as we thought it was going to do. What if we change it to this? What if I try this? What if I do something no one else is doing? Right. And you're just grateful for every little seed that you see inside of your program, or not program, inside your day to day. Or you see one person like a post, you're like, got one person liking a post, or you see one person click the link in your stories and you're like, okay, I got one person. That one person is all it takes to start unraveling, or not unraveling, growing that snowball effect as it rolls down the mountain. Brenda called out, I just pushed back my launch. No, we're going to talk about that. Okay, so we've got about 20 minutes. I might go over. I hope that's okay. If you can't stay past 11, you can watch the replay. But I want to go into the 4 things that really all of your attention needs to be going to every single day. Nothing more. And I just had a conversation with a private content coaching client who was telling me she's feeling anxiety. She's feeling really low point in her life. And I was like, remember, there's only 4 things you need to be doing every single day. Once you do those things, and I promise they're not going to take you hours. Once you do those things, you can just sit back and relax and trust that that's enough. So let's talk about it. I'm going to take a sip of water before I lose my voice. I've got 2 more live streams that I'm doing today. I've got a collab that I'm doing with Nora. She's amazing on Instagram. And then I'm doing my community live stream inside the Inner Circle too today. So I've got a lot of things to talk about. All right. said, I heard you say this about the first thing before, and I have them on a post in front of me every day since then. The 4 things. Oh, I love it. Yes. I'm so glad to hear that. Oh my God, that makes me so happy. Okay. So the 4 things. Number 1, we got to post content. This is how you grow your audience, serve your audience, drive your audience to buy. And without it, and I say this with love, people literally do not know you exist or that you have something that can help them. Like, I cannot tell you the number of times I've had new entrepreneurs come to me and they're like, what do I need to do to sign my first client? I'm like, post content, get in front of the right people, put yourself out there. And then they'll be like, a week goes by and they're like, okay, I'm back. What do I need to do to sign clients? I'm like, well, have you posted last week? No, I didn't really do that. Yeah, exactly. So you got to post content. You got to put yourself out there. You got to just take action. And content, when I say content, it's like live streams, free classes like this, free master classes, free freebies, posting on whatever platform you like. There are people who are taking off on Facebook still, believe it or not. There are people who are taking off on Threads. There are people that are taking off on Instagram, on TikTok. It doesn't matter which platform, just pick one. And if you want, you can, in person can be your platform, but you still have to show up and network, right? You still have to show up and post that flyer. It's the same concept. The more content you create, or the more times you show up and you get yourself out there, the less attached you're going to feel about making it perfect. So the more times you continue to take action, think about, like, if you are training for a marathon, the first week of your training plan, you feel like, oh no, I'm not gonna be able to run a marathon. I can barely run 3 miles. I'm like really sweating and struggling, and I don't know if I can do this. If you go in 3 months into your training plan, now you're like, 3 miles, no problem, because you've practiced, you've taken the initiative to figure out what works for you, what pace you need to go, how hard you need to train, you name it. So at the beginning, yeah, it's going to feel messy. It's going to feel hard. It's going to feel uncomfortable. But the more you do it, the easier it's going to get. And you'll stop being so obsessed about making it perfect, running the perfect tempo or whatever. Also, I want you to stop putting so much pressure on every single post. When this thought process, and I literally have a quote because this is things I used to think, okay, this will be the post that will help me have a breakthrough. This is going to be it. This is going to be my post that goes viral. This is going to be the post that people are going to share and save. That belief is a huge shift I needed to make before I started seeing actual results from my content, because I was putting so much emphasis on every single thing that I posted. And then I would refresh my notifications 100 times and I would just be disappointed at the end of the day that the content that I was so proud of at the beginning of the day didn't do what I expected. So instead, and that we've talked about so many times, instead, I encourage you to see content as a game. Make it fun. Make it an experiment. You never know what's going to happen. And approach it with I wonder if my audience will like this one. Start with a baseline of, I recommend like a baseline of 5 times a week, depending on where you are posting. We can talk about that. But start with a baseline of 5 times a week, work your way up to more if you start getting good data from your audience. Like, look at numbers, the comments, likes, saves, to determine which content your audience resonates with more. And if you need help of what to post and how to activate your audience, that's exactly what we're talking about inside main character messaging, which I'll be sharing with you a little bit more at the end. Okay. The next one, sell your offers. 5 times a week, including stories or reels or only. So I would recommend, good question. I would recommend if you're posting, showing up 5 times, let's say showing up 5 times a week. So if you're on Instagram, I would share to stories each day. And then I would also post something, either a carousel post, a static post, or a reel. Bare minimum, show up to stories 5 times a day, not 5 times a day, 5 times a week. And I would probably aim for 3 posts, like 3 reels, or a mixture of carousels and reels. But honestly, the more you post, the more traction you're going to get and more data you're going to get, right? So in a perfect world, and I don't mean to post like fluffy stuff. When I say post, we want to go deep into our messaging, deep into our dream clients, what's going to activate them. So if we're just posting surface level content, it's not going to really do anything for you. But I've seen recommendations for training the algorithm for reels. If you post consistently for a week, you post 2 times a day on reels for a week straight, then you can cut back because you have data from what worked and what didn't work, right? So we can kind of use the more you post, you get data from that, but then you can scale back and just really hone in on what's working for your audience and what's not working for your audience. Let me know if you need any more clarification from that. Okay. Number 1 was showing up, getting in front of your people, marketing. Number 2, sell your offer. Okay, so this answered your question. So number 2 is sell your offer. So number 1 is posting content. Number 2 is selling your offer. So that means showing up to your stories. That's a bare minimum. We got to be talking about our stories, or not. Too many S words. Talking about our offers. Okay. So another little story time. When I first started my business, I thought I was selling my offers enough until I had a coach literally tell me to count the numbers of times I sold it. And it was like 7 times for the entire launch or something. Embarrassing, true story, right? So posting 4 curated slides that you created in Canva, like Instagram story slides, and just reposting that over and over again and calling it a day is not enough. Again, I say that with love because I was there, but you actually have to, it's the same with our content, the same with our posts. You actually have to take the data of what's working and what's not working and adapt. So posting the same 4 slides over and over again is how you're going to create really bored audience who doesn't care when you post stories, who's not entertained. So mix up the way you share your offer, mix up the story that you tell behind it. Again, we talk about that in main character messaging, which I'm going to share more about at the end, which is the 3-week program. But the story we tell our audience is what's going to really rope them in and make them feel inspired to listen to us, to join us, whatever. So you can talk about, if you're, for example, I know a lot of people, their messaging is, I want to help entrepreneurs make 10K months. That is so vague. That is not good messaging. We need to go deeper than that, because you can talk about making 10K months in so many ways. You can talk about making 10K months on TikTok. You can talk about it on Instagram. You can talk about it for Facebook. You can talk about selling products. You can talk about, like, there's so many different ways we have to go deeper. And I hear a lot of people saying, oh, you don't need a niche. Yeah, you don't need a niche, but you do need to know who you're talking to. And that's where you get to go deeper in your messaging and the story behind who you're talking to. You also should be going deeper than, you get 3 calls a month. Okay, but what's in it for me? Why do I care about that? What's in it for me is like the thing I say over and over and over again to myself, to my clients, when I'm reviewing their content, their sales, everything. Because as a viewer, as an audience person, as someone who's watching you sell, what is in it for me? I don't care that I get 3 calls a month. I want to know that my problems are going to be solved by the end of it. So paint the picture of where they are now versus where they want to be, and how your method bridges the gap. There are so many people out there teaching the exact same thing you teach, or doing the exact same thing you do. What makes you different? If you need help finding that, send me a DM. Let's talk. All right, number 3. Okay, just checking the chat. Number 3, talk to your community. This is where you build a community. When you're working with clients, this should look like an 80-20% approach. So 80% you're engaged with your clients, you're talking to your clients, you're working with them, you're supporting them, but there's still 20% of your day, not day, but 20% of that time where you're engaging with new people who are not yet clients. If you aren't working with any clients, this should be 100% community focused, 100% talking to other people inside your community. So why I do this is because, first of all, people will Google, how do I get a community? They're asking the how, but all you need to do is just go and talk to people and build that community. That just by talking to people and engaging with people and being friendly and networking with them, you're building a community. So the goal here, the conversations are not to be sleazy. They're not to have some ulterior motive. It's literally just as market research and to build connections with people. Don't tell them that you're doing market research, please. Just open up a conversation. I like to say, like, imagine yourself in a crowded room. That's your social media page. So I think I got like 360 followers or something on Instagram right now, because I restarted my account before the summer last year. So I have like 300, maybe 60 people. Imagine yourself in a room with 360 people. Insert your own follower count there. Everyone's kind of standing around, feeling awkward, lurking on their phone. You are the host. What are you going to do? You're going to engage with them. You're going to go around and introduce yourself. You're going to ask questions about why they're here, what they want, like what they're learning about, what they're working on, and just get to know them. Right. So, like, just communicating with them, supporting them. Actually, a great way to do this is on Threads. If you're not on Threads, I just got on like about like a week ago because I had a client tell me she went viral there. And I kid you not, I said, I thought we downloaded Threads for a week and then we decided that we weren't going to do it because that was my story. But people are actually on there still, and they're it's actually really fun. You can just share really off the cuff things that you might not say in content. I saw someone just post about how they downloaded this freebie and the freebie was terrible, and they talked about why aren't people making good freebies anymore. Or I saw another person call out somebody for cold pitching to them. Like that's the type of stuff you can do on Threads, and it's a great place to build community, not necessarily sign clients, but the people that you communicate with that on there, engage with, they will go to your Instagram, go to your TikTok, whatever platform is your choice, and dive into your content there, and then, get that FOMO effect, see your energy, see how passionate you are about what you talk about, and then they can't resist but join your offer. Okay, last one. Can you give me a yes in the chat if you feel like this is reasonable? Like, you can post once a day, you can show up once a day, let's say 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. You can sell your offer by talking about your offer once a day, 5 times a week, right? And you can talk to people in your community. If you have clients, that's 80% of that. It's just talking to your clients. You probably already do that. So give me a yes in the chat if that feels reasonable. Got a yes from Kat. Awesome. Okay. Last one, and then we'll go into a little Q&A if anyone has any questions. The last one is possibly the most important, but embodiment practice. And what do I mean by that? Confidence sells. I could really end this entire class here. Confidence sells. I cannot stress this enough. And this is coming from someone who grew up painfully shy. You need to check in with your thoughts and feelings every single day. Because if you are showing up, and like, it all goes back to the waiting game, right? Of I'm posting every single day, and I'm getting the feedback of I'm only getting 200 views, I'm only getting 5 likes, no one's showing up to my live streams. I must not be good. I need to fix something. That mindset is what you need to fix, right? Like, we need to go into where these thoughts are coming from, why these things are coming up. And it's our job to navigate these. We don't have to be positive all the time, but if you are showing up and you're selling kind of half-assed because you don't fully believe in yourself because last time you posted, no one signed up. So now you kind of have this story attached that now no one's going to show up or no one's going to sign up. That is hurting your launch. That is hurting your confidence. It's hurting your energy. And yeah, it's just going to unravel from there. And I've been there. I've been there many times. That second launch that I tried to do that flopped, that failed, was because I started to doubt myself. I started to unravel and spiral because I thought I wasn't good enough. So some things that you can do, really just checking in with your thoughts and feelings every day is really something that you can just transform so much. It does more than you think it does. Start the day. How are you feeling? End of the day. How are you feeling? Okay, maybe why did it change? Connect the dots in between. But another thing you do is start to ask yourself, what would your dream self do every single day? How would your dream self start the day? Do they check their phone and instantly check all the notifications? Or do they wake up and they make coffee without checking their phone and they go on a walk and they just feel good about themselves? Is your dream self getting your hair done, dressing up, going for a walk, going to the gym, hopping into your vault of client results to remind yourself, oh yeah, I am freaking amazing at what I do? Right? Like, the more you think about what, if you were already successful, if you had everything, like when you posted 10 people joined your offer immediately, how would you be showing up? Because this affects everything. And you can honestly feel it in someone's content when they aren't quite sure of themselves. Give me a yes in the chat if you're like, oh yeah, I've seen that before, or you've seen it with yourself. Like, you can smell the desperation coming off their sales sequence. They have that waiting energy instead of the leadership energy of, I'm just posting to post, and why aren't people showing up? And often the biggest block between showing up every day but not seeing results isn't a strategy, but it's your own damn confidence. And that, again, I am a strategy loving girl. I hid behind the strategy for so long, and strategy is important, but chances are you already know what to do. I just gave you the 3 things you need to focus on every single day. And yes, we can refine and go deeper, but at the end of the day, confidence sells. If you are not confident, if you don't think your offer is freaking amazing, then it's not going to sell. All right. I will leave you all with that. Absolutely. 100%. Amen. Yes. Love it. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? So here, how this is going to work is you can unmute yourself, or you can raise your hand and I can call on you, or say like me in the chat and I can call on you. And we can do a little bit of questions and then we can leave it from there. Anybody?
Yes, I do have a
Yes.
question. Like, can we go a little deeper on the transformation type content? Is it something that you do as kind of like an aspirational type of thing? Like, imagine yourself doing blah, blah, blah. Is it something you talk about in the first person? Like, you tell your story and how you went from A to B. Is it everything at once? Maybe talking about your clients and what you've helped them achieve. Like, what's your approach on that area?
Great question. You're inside main character messaging, right? Okay, great. We're going to have an entire module on this, but I'll give you a little short and sweet answers because we've got 10 days until that program starts. So, I just kicked my desk and everything is shaking. So transformational content, I've actually adapted the 3 types of content that I used to say 4 types of content, and one of them used to be storytelling. But now I believe that every single post that you are doing, you're doing some sort of storytelling. You're taking in your own experiences, your clients' experiences, what your audience is experiencing, and you're creating content for that. So in essence, that is storytelling. So the 3 types of content I usually talk about are visibility. So the purpose of the post is to go visible, to get visible. And that usually looks like reels or, short form TikToks where you're doing like under 12 seconds, because the more people who watch it on a loop, the more it's going to get visible. Or trying to cut something with an axe. Like that is a visibility piece of content. To call back to Brenda. And then the second type of content is transformational, aka educational. The point here is to give somebody, let them leave with a transformation. So what I like to do is, we're not telling our entire story or our client's entire story, right? We're zooming in on something super specific. So I could, for example, create an entire post just on transformational content and how you use it in your content. And you could read this piece of content. You can watch the video, you can read my caption, whatever it is, and you can go take notes, go implement it on your own and get a transformation. The last piece of content is that authority, belief shifting content of your clients think something, like they think the algorithm's out to get them, but that it's not the algorithm, it's how they're creating content or how they're activating their clients, or their audience, I should say. So it's your job to shift their beliefs, shift the way they're thinking, their limiting beliefs, so that they understand what's in their way is not actually in their way. And here's how you're going to help them get from where they are now to where they want to be. So when we layer on storytelling on top of that, you can relate to your clients in every single piece. So in visibility, when you say POV, this is like my favorite type of visibility post. POV, you used to be super, super shy in high school and you had to learn how to be confident to sell out your offers. Like someone can relate to that because they were super shy in high school. But I never really said I was super shy. I did say that, but I was saying you were super shy. I'm talking to my audience. Transformational content, like you can do something like you are posting consistently every single day and you're wondering why you're not seeing the results you expected. Go into the teaching points, and then you could sprinkle in like I used to be here too, this is what I did, but most of it's geared towards your audience. And then the last one obviously is definitely geared towards your audience because you're helping them shift a belief. But again, you can tie in, I used to believe this, or my client was here and now they are here. Did that answer your question? Awesome. Anyone else have any questions? It's okay if you don't and you want to ask me later. Brenda, yes.
Okay, there we go. So you're talking earlier about posting like minimum like 3 times or 5 times, or what is it, once a week or once a day, sorry, for reels and stuff like that. They're also talking about like carousels and all these kinds of things. So I've been introducing for the last week anyway. I typically have 2 reels, and one's like a visibility, and then one's more educational, and then I have a carousel specific that is kind of mimicking that educational post. So like I'm getting 0 traction from anything that's like a carousel, a photo, just text. Mind you, it's been a week, but it still has been like 30 posts. So I'm just wondering, like, where I always feel like you lean towards the money. You know what I mean? The stuff that's actually doing. So why is it a benefit to do the other thing as well? Like with the carousels and anything other than reels is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, great question. So I agree with you. Lean towards the money, towards what's working. But when you think about the different formats of content, they all serve a different purpose. So a reel, that's a loop maybe, and you're not really informing. It's just like to capture attention is your visibility. Why am I still getting text when I have do not disturb on? Sorry. So what was I just saying? Oh yeah, so visibility posts, like a short form piece of content. That is to like get people to get eyeballs onto your account. Then a carousel post, you can do this through reels. I've been experimenting with this. I've been doing way more reels than carousels lately because that is working for me. But I still do probably 1 carousel a week because the people that I'm pulling in, think of it like a funnel. The people that I'm pulling in with my reels are going to want to go deeper. And they're going to go deeper by looking at my carousel post, something they can scroll through. And you also have to think about the behavior people have on Instagram. They might not be even engaging at all. There might be people watching and, listening and taking notes and stuff, but they're not saving it. They're not liking it. They're not commenting. Like I never like, I never comment. I never save. I maybe will screenshot. Like I screenshot more than I do anything. And that's probably a bad thing. And I'm guilty of that. I'm admitting that right now. But I will screenshot and go back to that post, but I don't actually like it or save it on the app. So you never know what people are doing. But I have found, even my own experience of investing in my mentors and people I've worked with, I will usually find them on a reel. If we're talking about Instagram, I'll find them on a reel. I'm like, oh, this is good. I'll read their caption. I'm like, oh, this is really good. I'll go to their stories. I'll watch their stories. I'm like, this is so good. I want more. I'll go, oh, they have a carousel post breaking down exactly what I learned on the reel. I want to go deeper. I'll scroll through that and I'll click on the link, right? I never actually engaged. So I will say it's probably, your carousel posts are probably doing something that you don't know is happening. And when you're working with such small numbers at the beginning, it seems like nothing is happening, but even like 1 person can make that difference, can be your next person that signs up, right? So we can take a look at this. I know like we can go inside Slack after this and take a look at your content in particular. I've seen a couple of your posts, and it could just be like the first page, your first hook of the carousel might need to be a little stronger, might need to call them in more, and we can play around with that. But just note, like as a blanket statement for everybody, there are things going on that you don't know what's happening. For example, Kat, I did a live stream. I think 1 or 2 people watched it live, and I was like, okay, whatever. I had a good time. No one liked it. No one really did anything. Kat gave me a message after last week's live stream and said, I watched it twice. I didn't know that, right? Like, I don't think maybe she liked it, but she didn't comment on it or anything. She watched it twice and took notes, right? And then it took action from it. So you never know what's happening. And I always tell myself before I post, what if somebody has been lurking on my account for so long and they're just waiting for me to post the thing that's going to make them convert? And you just show up so differently once you do that. So long-winded answer, Brenda, we can go deeper into this and do some content review after. But yeah, that was a very good question. Anyone else? Kat, do you have any questions? I can't hear you. I don't know if doesn't say you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, hang on. Let's mute it. Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great. Would you mind going into just the methodology again? Do you know the way you can make that really clear? I suppose because I've met you before and we've worked at it, but and what was very significant for me was learning, like I think someone mentioned already, putting it back to the person, making it in the, so is this how you felt, or maybe just go over methodology again, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Do you mean like the structure of the post and how to call in?
Yes.
Yeah. So my usual rule of thumb for my general outline will be a you statement. This is where we call in our audience with something that's super relatable. So I said that earlier, like POV, used to be super shy in school and now you're running a global empire or something like that. Even if they're not running a global empire, that's a desire that they have, because I know my audience, and they will still stop and read that. Excuse me, because they maybe they were shy in high school, they relate to that. Maybe their goal is to build that global empire, so they relate to that. And now they're hooked. They want to know how to go from that shy girl to building a global empire. So you start with an identifying statement, something that's going to call in. It's like the first line of the story that they want to read. And then I usually go in with something that pulls in that belief that they think they have, right? The problem they think they have. The algorithm hates them. They don't have enough followers. They're not posting enough or something like that. Whatever they think the problem is. I say, POV, you were painfully shy in high school. Now you're trying to run a global empire. You might think that, or I could say something like, I'm writing a post right now as we say this. Let's see. I can guarantee you right now the number of followers that you have is enough to jumpstart your empire. And I just targeted their belief of they don't have enough followers to be successful. I just proved them wrong by saying that. And I can give them evidence. I could say, like, I could add it in the line saying my client, Andrea, had a small following of 400 people or less, and in 30 days she brought in whatever, right? Like I could add in that line. And then I go into the teaching points, the main takeaways. And again, it's like I'm teaching my audience, I'm teaching them, not necessarily talking about me. I might sprinkle in some ideas that I've had, like my own experience with it, but in the end, it's what they need to get out of the post. So it goes with the calling in statement, the calling out, that's kind of optional, like calling out the belief, sprinkling social proof, also optional, but recommended if you have it, the teaching points, and then wrapping it up somewhere, bringing it back to their goal, bring it back to where they are now and where they want to be. And then again, how you are going to get them there.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to send me a message on Instagram. I think you all are following me there. If you're watching the replay, also send me a message there. I just want to invite you all. I know Maria's in there already. Brenda's going to be there. Main character messaging. It starts on April 29th. It's a 3-week live program where we're going to go deep into your messaging. So that essentially means who your dream client is, what they are currently experiencing, how to treat them like the main character in the story so that they feel called in, that they feel relatable to you, that you can connect to them. We're going to go over the messaging. So you're going to actually leave with pages of copy and script that you can use in your content. We're going to go over content in particular, like we're actually going to write content together as a group. And then we're also going to go into how to read your analytics and use your analytics to really compound your growth and see more growth and speed up your growth from that. So if you're interested in that, send me a DM on Instagram. I'm excited to see you all there. Thank you so much for joining me live. You guys asked some amazing questions. This was an amazing live stream. I will send you all the replay so you can watch it and take notes and whatever you want to do afterwards. But I will see you all later. Thanks so much for coming. Bye.
Bye, Hannah.
Bye.